Okay, in this video I'm going to talk about the declarative clause and its syntax. And the declarative clause is used to state facts. Okay, it's used to provide factual information. Okay, now whether or not they're true or not, that's something else that has to be determined, but we still call them factual information. Okay, so let's look at the positive, or it needs to be a plus, the positive or affirmative syntax. Let me make sure that's a plus sign. Okay, and that's used to make statements about what things are or what is happening as opposed to what is not happening. That's pretty obvious. So let's look at the syntax. And the syntax in English is subject. That's mandatory. It's a noun phrase. It's always a noun phrase. Verb, which is always a verb phrase, and that's also mandatory. And then we have two optional parts. Okay. And I say complements are optional based on what verb you use. If you use certain verbs, they become mandatory. But in general, you can have 0, 1, or more than one. And then finally, adjuncts, which are also you can have 0, 1, or more than one, and they are optional. Okay, so these are the two you absolutely have to have. So the subject is a noun phrase that says what the clause is about, what we're talking about. The verb provides the action of the sentence. Now the complement completes the thought of either the verb or the subject. And it depends on the kind of verb you use, whether you need to complement the verb or whether you go out and complement the subject. And we'll show both examples. The adjunct is normally a phrase, okay, an adverb phrase, prepositional phrase. Most often, there are other possibilities. And it generally gives us more information about the action that's going on in the sentence. Typically, it either gives a location or a time. There's other things it can do. There's other kinds of information it can provide, but those are the two most common, the location and the time. Okay, so let's get a noun phrase. Let's get a subject. The dog. Oh, get my colors mixed up. The dog fetched, and we'll just use something in the simple past. And fetched is what's called a transitive verb. Okay, it's looking for something to complete the thought. What is it that the dog fetched? So the dog fetched a ball. Okay, and let's say, okay, where did he do that? He did that at the park. Okay, so the dog fetched a ball at the park. Okay, so subject, verb, complement, plus an adjunct. Now in English, this order this order right here, subject plus verb plus complement, is one of those 99% true rules. Okay, it's very, very seldom broken. It's only done very carefully by very good writers. Okay, and even then it can be confusing. Okay, because this speakers of English expect these things to happen in this order. They expect to start with the subject and then have a verb phrase that says what the subject is doing, and then have complements to complete the thoughts, and only then have, well, I should say they complete the thoughts, because I purposely left adjuncts out. So because this is so normal a way of speaking, this is basic to our understanding of English. English is sometimes referred to as an SVC language: subject, then verb, then complement. Okay, and other languages have other orders. Japanese is an SCV language. The verb always comes last. Okay, so you'd say something like, the dog a ball fetched, if you were in Japan, but not if you're speaking English. Okay, now I purposely left the adjunct out because the adjunct is actually you can put the adjunct anywhere. You can actually put it in between the verb and the complement, and you can put it in between the subject and the verb, mark it off with commas, okay, or you can put it all the way at the beginning. The two normal locations, the 90%, this is kind of a 90% rule, the two normal locations are either at the back or at the front. And occasionally you will have, if you have two adjuncts, you will put one at the front and one at the back. So this is an adjunct that describes where it happened. I might put the one that described when it happened up here in the front. So yesterday, comma, the dog fetched a ball at the park. When he did it, up front. Where he did it, in the back. Okay? And that's just one possibility. But usually you'll see the adjuncts either at the front, either at the back, that's the normal location, and then, or at the front, and only rarely stuck in the middle. And the reason for not putting them in the middle that often is it disrupts the flow of the sentence. It just makes it harder to read and harder to understand. Not necessarily wrong, but just harder. Okay, so that's a verb complement. A ball completed the idea of fetched. It told us what was being fetched. So let's do one more with a subject complement. My car. And we're going to use type of verb called a copular or a linking verb, and is far and away the most common one. And so my car is, and this time let's use an adjective. So my car is very old. Okay. Happens to be not really a true statement. My car is somewhat old. Would probably be more accurate. But again, it's a perfectly good statement. My car is very old. Okay, and in this case, very old doesn't complete the concept of is just a linking verb. So, but it comes back and it completes the description of my car. Okay, what kind of, what is the condition of my car? It's very old. Okay, so with that, I think I will stop here and take a pause, and then come back in another video and do the negative syntax, because it's a little bit more complicated and I don't know if I have enough time. Okay, let's stop here and I will talk to you later.